Hey everyone, and welcome! Today we are tackling a beast that has haunted so many tabletop role-playing games. You know, that slow, clunky, math-heavy combat encounter. We're going to dive into a system designed to swap all that mathematical drag for some high-speed, cinematic action.
I mean, you know the feeling, right? The dragon's breathing fire, the entire kingdom is on the line, but your party is stuck looking up rules, calculating modifiers, and just waiting. All that epic momentum just drains away. It's a frustration we've all felt at the table.
So let's actually give this problem a name. Let's call it the 60-minute combat turn. It's what happens when a single round of action gets so bogged down in mechanics that it just wipes out the table's energy. What should be this thrilling, amazing clash turns into, well, a bit of a slog.
Okay, so let's dig into exactly why this happens. In this first section, we'll explore how these traditional step-by-step processes really put the brakes on our story.
This right here, this is the culprit. See, traditional combat often works like a linear simulation. You roll for initiative, and you wait. Then it's your turn. You roll to hit, and you wait. You roll for damage, and it just goes on and on. This whole stop-and-go thing creates a massive bottleneck where every single action needs its own separate permission slip from the game's math.
So how in the world do we fix this? Well, the solution is a huge shift in thinking, from that slow, linear process to something much, much faster. Let's talk about the concept of parallel processing.
And check out the difference here. On the left, you've got that long, painful checklist we just talked about. But on the right, you've got the Multiverse Dice Master, or MDM, solution. One single roll. This is not some small tweak, folks. This is a totally different way of thinking about how combat works.
And that one single roll is called the attack initiative. It's just one roll of two 20-sided dice plus your bonuses. And it's designed to figure out all the numbers for your turn all at once. No more rolling dice again and again and again.
All right, so let's pop the hood and see how this engine actually works. We're going inside the combat matrix, which is the machine that makes all this high-speed combat possible.
You know, the best way to think about the combat matrix is like a microprocessor. It takes one input, that's your attack initiative roll, and it instantly processes it into a whole bunch of different outputs, telling you exactly what your character can pull off this round.
And this is where it gets kind of wild. It shows you the sheer power of that one roll. It doesn't just tell you when you go in the turn order, it simultaneously tells you if you hit, how many attacks you get, your movement, your damage, if you get a critical hit. Look at that list, over 10 different data points, all figured out in a single moment.
So how does the matrix actually read your roll? It uses these fixed tiers, or benchmarks, that make the results super clear for everybody. Even AI could figure it out. The very first threshold to do anything meaningful is a roll of 11 or higher. So if your attack initiative lands somewhere between 11 and 21, you get a solid, if kind of basic turn. Your action budget for that round is one action or one attack plus a reaction. That's a quick response you can take even when it's not your turn. Narratively, this is like a possible hit, probably on the enemy's legs or lower body, with pretty standard range and damage.
But hey, a basic turn is just the beginning. The real fun starts when you roll a 22 or higher. That's when you start to unlock what your character can really do.
Hitting this 22 to 32 range really boosts your effectiveness. Your action budget expands, giving you up to 2 attacks. And this is huge. Your main class feature or feat gets automatically activated. This isn't some glancing blow anymore. You're landing a solid, accurate hit, probably on the target's torso.
Now, we're getting into truly heroic territory. A result of 33 or higher is known as the threshold of excellence, and trust me, this is where you get those epic, cinematic, movie-like moments. Reaching the threshold of excellence is a total game changer. Your budget explodes to 3 attacks plus a signature move, which is this awesome preset combo of a special battle maneuver and an extra opportunity attack. You also automatically pass any saving throws that round, and your attack becomes a lethal hit aimed right at the target's vital organs. This is where the rules literally bend for the sake of an awesome story.
But you know what? Even the threshold of excellence can be beaten. The absolute peak, the pinnacle of a combat roll, is getting a total of 40 or more, or, rolling natural double 20s.
And that is the critical hit. You unleash your maximum number of attacks, you pull off your signature move, and, get this, you deal pre-calculated maximum damage. No extra dice rolling needed to slow things down. You might even cleave right through your target and hit another enemy standing behind them. It's just a truly devastating result that keeps the game moving at lightning speed.
Okay, so we know what the roles mean, but how does this all come together to make a combat round actually flow? In this section, let's look at the countdown initiative, which is the system that puts all this into motion.
The whole round is structured around a concept called the OODA loop. The DM handles the first two steps. They observe the battlefield and orient you, the players, with descriptions. Then the power shifts. Because you already know the result of your roll, you get to focus purely on the story of your turn. You get to decide and act with total creative freedom. So instead of a static turn order, the DM just manages a countdown, starting from the highest roll all the way down to 1. As the DM calls out numbers, anyone, player or monster, who rolled that total gets to act. And this just brilliantly shows how everyone is constantly engaged. Look at the rogue. They rolled a 19, but they use a reaction at 26, way before their own turn even comes up. There is literally no downtime.
So let's wrap this all up. Why does any of this matter? Well, it's simple. Because it allows your combat to finally move at the speed of your imagination.
This quote from the designers just captures the spirit perfectly. Because you know the outcome of your roll before you describe your action, it frees you up to be purely creative. It turns you from a number cruncher into a story architect, which leads to more comedy, more heroic descriptions, and yeah, for sure, a lot more shenanigans.
By front-loading all that math into one single roll and letting a simple matrix do the heavy lifting, this whole system just reduces that mental strain, that cognitive load for everyone at the table. It turns that 60-minute combat turn into a 15-minute burst of pure cinematic action. So the real question is, are you ready to play at the speed of story? Thanks for joining us.